This is macOS Ken.
Starring iPad as Gatekeeper, 1.5 positive notes from Wall Street, and award season never, ever stops, ever. It is Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Use the internet the way you want to. Subscribe and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/macOSCan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. From the Couldn't Call It Surprising file, after taking time to consider whether iPadOS should be tarred with the Gatekeeper status, the European Commission has decided, yep, it's a keeper. Last September, around the same time the EC gave Gatekeeper status to iOS and Safari, the body started looking into whether the same could be or should be said for the operating system that runs iPad. Months later, a piece from Mac Rumors says the Commission has found Apple's business user numbers exceeded the quantitative threshold 11-fold, while its end user numbers were close to the threshold and are predicted to rise in the near future. End users are locked into iPadOS according to the EC, which says Apple leverages its large ecosystem to disincentivize end users from switching to other operating systems for tablets. And business users are locked into iPadOS because of its large and commercially attractive user base and its importance for certain use cases, such as gaming apps. You know, at some point, this kind of starts to seem personal. The Mac Rumors piece had Margareta Vestea, the EC's EVP of Competition Policy, saying in a press release, "The Digital Markets Act is a dynamic tool which allows us to tackle the realities of digital markets. Today we have brought Apple's iPadOS within the scope of the DMA obligations. Our market investigation showed that despite not meeting the thresholds, iPadOS constitutes an important gateway on which many companies rely to reach their customers." Man, that is a dynamic tool, isn't it? Kind of like a sonic screwdriver. Apple now has 6 months to bring iPadOS in line with the Digital Markets Act. One assumes that means sideloading, third-party app stores, other browser engines, and all that stuff. Bad news for Apple always means one thing: time to wake Epic CEO Tim Sweeney. TechCrunch had, insert nickname here, taken to what we used to lovingly call Twitter on Monday, saying today the European Commission said that iPads will also need to comply with the Digital Markets Act. We're moving full steam ahead to bring Fortnite and the Epic Game Store to iPhones in the EU soon, and iPads this year. Two positive takes on Apple shares on Monday. One from TD Cowen analyst Chris Shankar, and another one that I want to save as a surprise. Apple 3.0 ran part of the Shankar note. Headed into this week's earnings, the Cowen analyst thinks things are going to be fine, with strengths helping to pave over the potholes of weakness. Potholes of weakness is my System of a Down cover band. Has he heard about falling iPhone sales in China? He has, though they could be partially offset by growth in under-penetrated markets such as India, according to the analyst. While near-term demand remains mixed, Shankar says a seasonal recovery in the second half of the calendar year could lead to calendar year 24 units down low single digits. From whence might that recovery come? Well, there is the seasonal thing, but there is also generative AI maybe. The June 10th WWDC event focused on AI could be a catalyst for shares in Shankar's estimation. Mac sales were probably down last quarter, with iPad sales likely flat. There is hope for the tablet, though, in the form of next week's Let Loose product event. He thinks builds for AirPods were down high single digits, while builds for Apple Watch are down by low teens % in his estimation. He mentioned Apple Vision Pro as well, figuring a total of roughly 700,000 units produced through the first half of 2024. Services to the rescue for all of Apple's lagging hardware. Strength for that segment continues to partially offset the negative trends in the products business, according to the note. I know I said that note was positive. I also know it didn't sound positive, and yet Mr. Sankar maintains a buy rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $220. Okay, ready for your surprise? Apple shares got moved from neutral to outperform on Monday by Bernstein research analyst Tony Sacconaghi. Surprise! Quoting his note, "We believe prevailing weakness in China is more cyclical than structural, and note that historically Apple's China business has exhibited much higher volatility than Apple overall, given its very feature-sensitive installed base. We further believe that replacement tailwinds and incremental generative AI features set up Apple well for a strong iPhone 16 cycle." It was CNBC that ran that blurb. It had Sacconaghi indicating that it is time for investors to buy the fear. Buy the fear is my Potholes of Weakness cover band. New rating, same old price target. CNBC says the analyst stood by his 12-month target of $195. I told you yesterday of a 9 to 5 Mac piece that had HomePod and HomePod Mini going up for orders in Malaysia and Thailand. Turns out they missed a spot. That spot? Turkey. A piece from my download blog says orders for Apple's semi-smart kind of speakers have gone live there as well. Delivery is expected for all 3 countries on Friday, the 10th of May. If you were first in line for a physical titanium Apple Card, your new one is coming soon. Mac Rumors says the first physical cards, which launched in August of 2019, are coming close to their expiration date in several months. According to the piece, it appears that the physical Apple Card is designed to last for 5 years before a replacement is sent out. Most of Apple Card's functionality is digital, with options for rotating security codes and credit card numbers for online purchases, but there is a number associated with the physical card that is used for in-person transactions. Credit card companies add expiration dates to physical cards for fraud prevention purposes, to introduce new technology, and so on. Because Apple is Apple, the company is sending along a prepaid shipping label so that holders of the old card can send it back to be recycled. The company suggests cardholders activate the new one as soon as it arrives because the old one's going to stop working. That's why they're replacing it. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. For me, the biggest selling points for a good VPN are privacy and speed. ExpressVPN shields all of my internet traffic with strong encryption, which I appreciate. It also does it with no perceptible hit to performance, which I really appreciate. I mean, I really appreciate the other thing too, but yeah, you get the idea. Another big selling point, watching what you can't watch where you are. If a service where you are doesn't have access to something you want to see, but it does have access in another country, ExpressVPN can help. See, ExpressVPN lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. You're paying for Netflix, right? Or Hulu, or whatever. Get what you're paying for and then some with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN has been my VPN for years. It's easy to use, it's fast, it works on your smartphone, smart TV, laptop, and more. And right now, It's coming your way at a pretty good deal. Whether you want to access a literal world of content or just keep the world out of your business, use my link right now, expressvpn.com/macOSKen, and you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/macOSKen to learn more. expressvpn.com/macOSKen. While it did slow down for a bit, award season never really stops. With that in mind, congratulations this week to 2 shows on Apple TV+. Cult of Mac says the dystopian drama Silo and the dysfunctional drama Slow Horses have each picked up a couple of Great Britain's BAFTA Television Craft Awards. As the name implies, the Craft Awards are tied to the production side of nominated titles. Slow Horses picked up one for editing, fiction, and another for sound, fiction. Meanwhile, Silo nabbed one for production design and another for original music, fiction. And with that, awards season continues in 2 weeks, this time with the less crafty BAFTA Television Awards. Apple TV Plus titles are up for 3 of those, including Jack Lowden for his supporting actor in a drama nom for Slow Horses, the show Hannah Waddingham, Home for Christmas in the entertainment category, and the Enfield Poltergeist for Specialist Factual. And if you know what that means, I am willing to bet Bob is your uncle. The 2024 BAFTA Television Awards take place Sunday, the 12th of May. If you live in the UK, you can probably watch it live. Outside of the UK, I don't know, got a VPN? Nerves were touched Monday, and messages were sent in response. I joked on Monday's show that people might be making up the whole Apple ID thing, the thing where people were forced out of their Apple IDs across all their devices last Friday night, then had to reset their passwords to regain access. Well, I heard from my friend Ryan. You know Ryan.
This is macOS Ken.
Yeah, that Ryan said it happened to him at a really inopportune time. He was out of the house, he was working, and all of a sudden he's trying to figure out whether he's being targeted by bad guys or what the heck's going on. All seems well now, though he is expecting some one-time password to come back and bite him in the backside at some point. Randy wrote in to say it happened to him too. Friday, around 7 p.m. Central, I got a message on my Apple TV that I needed to log back into my Apple ID. When going to my phone and computer to complete the process, I was told my account was locked and I would need to confirm my identity to reset my password. I assume someone had tried to log into my account, says Randy, whether by accident or on purpose, and had failed as I got no two-factor authentication request. So I stumbled through changing the password, and also later in the weekend had to update an app-specific password as well. Everything seems to be okay so far, but I'm waiting for a device to break throughout the week because it has the wrong password. We'll see. So says Randy, sounding a lot like Ryan.
This is macOS Ken.
See what I mean? macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by ExpressVPN. Use the internet the way you want to. Subscribe and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.